right, it is Tuesday. You know what that means. It's Show Me the Money Club live Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. And you can catch us here on YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and also LinkedIn. And as well, if you are watching the replay, we have an audio version of the podcast available on all major podcasting platforms. Before we even want to get going, we want to say thanks, Chuck, for becoming a member. Appreciate that. Saw that in the chat just before we started, so appreciate that. Sergio, how you doing today?
Bienvenidos. I'm doing great.
Hola.
Hola. How do you say?
Hola, mi
Bienvenidos,
amigo.
señoritas and señoras, a la canal de Rideshare Guy. We have a Hispanic channel now. We have a Spanish channel now. I was the first subscriber today, bro. Yeah.
Yes. For those who speak Spanish, we want to incorporate a little bit more, especially with so many Spanish-speaking drivers that are out there. The Rideshare Guy en Español is now live, so if you want to check that out, link is in the description. So if you are a Spanish-speaking driver or your language is primarily Spanish, then the content there will be sufficient for you. So make sure you head over there and check that out. Not only that, we have a couple other announcements to go through. I know you love the newsletter, so I'm going to let you handle that one.
Yes, I love the newsletter. First week of March, I'm dropping the Boston Driver behind the wheel with $200,000 in earnings and 3-4 years in a row. I think my life is about to fly, but it's okay. So please, www.therideshareguy.com. Free, Free. Free is good these days. You guys will see my earnings on Lyft. Definitely free. Are we giving my money today? Whatever I made this weekend? Yep. Yeah, we are. Oh, yep. God damn. Anyway, so yeah, please go. Yeah, thanks. Please go sign up. Great articles by me, Jay, Tyler, Paula. You know, I know most of you like watching things, but this is really, really good information. So do us a favor. Please go sign up. Free newsletter.
Yep. Link is in the description as well, too, if you want to sign up for that. And one of the nice things, too, is there's a lot more in-depthness on those articles versus something that you can get within a video. Sometimes there is not the same type of overlap when it comes to a full article or within the newsletter itself. So that is one thing to talk about when it comes to signing up for that. There's a lot of great content in there, a lot more, like I said, extra when it comes to the articles that are written. So you want to make sure you do take advantage of that by signing up for the newsletter. Not only that, we did say thank you for our member that joined earlier, Chuck. We do appreciate that. And if you'd like to become a member and support the channel, you can. We have a couple of different tiers with some different benefits. And one of the benefits that's coming up is we are doing our members only live stream this Thursday. It's going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Again, that is going to be on Thursday, this Thursday, the 29th, which is Leap Day for the leap year. So make sure you are signed up for that. We're going to have some good conversations there, a little off the cuff, a little members only. So it's going to be enjoyable there. And also, we have Crossfire coming up, which members are going to have a special members only segment between Harry and Sergio on that. So that will not be released to the public. That is going to be a members only. So again, if you'd like some extra added content, please join as a member and you will get some extra added content there. Not only that, again, I'm going to be in Chicago this weekend. I've already talked to a few Chicago drivers. We're going to try to do a meetup. So if you are in the Chicago area and want to do a meetup, shoot me an email, chris@therideshareguy.com. Again, chris@therideshareguy.com. We're kind of in the preliminary stages. I wanted to see who was the person or the people who wanted to get together. So we do have a few people. We're going to get together, hang out, see how the Chicago market is, try to do our tests and see what's going on there. So we do appreciate that. Anything else more we want to announce, Serge?
No, I will announce I'll be in Oakland, San Francisco area in the middle of March. We'll announce that later, except that I'm freezing a lot, so I may have to go out, come back in, so you can deal with our guest. I don't
Okay, no
know
worries.
what's going on
Well,
with
we're
my
gonna do
bell.
we're gonna do a rundown, and then we have our guest Levi coming on. For those who don't know, Levi is got the YouTube channel. I'll tip you in the app. Famous quotes given by many passengers that we've all heard. So he's got a great YouTube channel. He's going to come on in just a few moments after we do the rundown, talking about these earning statements and breaking them down, some of the issues there and what's going on. And it's going to help you guys with your information, especially since tax time is coming up. It's just good to
Yep.
know that information. Big, big thing though is it's not tax advice. If you
Yep.
want tax advice or anything like that, consult a CPA or tax advisor. They're going to give you the best information and you can get your advice there. This is just more education. This is more for earnings. This is more to just educate yourself and know what's going on.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
Levi will be coming on in just a moment. After Levi is off, we're going to be talking about how Sergio drove this weekend for Lyft and what his results were with the 70-30 split,
mhm.
sort of. And then we're going to be talking about Lyft shaving, a spreadsheet that was broken down. We're going to be talking about Uber is changing the weekend quests. Why? The Uber CEO also says that they took drivers for granted. We're going to be talking about that. Also, again, we're going to be re-hitting the DoorDash, UberEats, and all delivery companies got to stop fake accounts. What's going on there? Alto is pulling out of 2 major markets. Uber drivers are scamming passengers for tips. We're going to be talking about that and breaking it down and what not to do. We're also going to be going with some facts and funnies and all of that good stuff. So we got a great show for you lined up. Sergio, if you got to take a break or anything like that, by all means, you can come right back in. We'll
Yeah,
see you. Hopefully you
am I
won't, but
freezing?
no,
Am
not
I
really. You
freezing?
were a little bit, but just in case you do,
It may be
then
that box that popped up, the Google Chrome BS box or
I
whatever
don't know.
that is. But
That
anyway,
is true. Google, we did apparently update on the new Google Chrome, and I don't know what happened, but they changed everything. Google sucks for that. They also
keep
lost $90 billion this in one day. Good job, Gemini. So uh,
um, you mentioned Levi showing up. Okay, so it's
yep.
basically informational. He's going to show his own, 1099s and all that. You guys will see that. But on the 12th, I'm trying to get an actual tax CPA accountant on the show so we can do like a Q&A and you guys can ask. It'll be on March 12th. Okay. So tune in for that. We will let you guys know, but that would be really great help. So like we said, this is not tax advice today, but on the 12th of March, we may have a gentleman who can help you guys with your questions about taxes and all that good stuff. So,
Yep.
all right.
And with that being said, let's bring Levi on. Levi, how you doing? Thank you for coming on.
Hola, but that's the only Spanish I know.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Hola, Mr. King of Short Trips, right here.
Yeah, I tell you what, if I see $4, man, I'm all over that sucker, and it is what it
Somebody's got
is.
to take it. But
Somebody's
okay, so
got to take it.
Levi and I, we did our behind the wheel a while ago, maybe almost a year ago. He's
About a
on the
year ago,
channel,
Yeah, it was
and
one
it's
of the
long
first few.
overdue that he's back. And I trust Levi with numbers more than I trust myself. So who
And that's
better
saying a
than?
lot.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Okay. So who better than telling our audience now and 10,000 later how to read your 1099s, how to match it, how to consolidate everything. Again, it's not tax advice. But before we get into that, Levi has a wonderful channel called Tip You in the App, which we all hear how many times a day and we never get tipped, but he can talk about his channel. Also, sometimes on Mondays, personally myself, like yesterday, I was on for a couple hours. They have an amazing driver group spaces on X, on Twitter. It's called Drivers Coast to Coast, and you guys can go subscribe to that. It's free, obviously. It's on X. They run this live streamish kind of a thing called Spaces. Amazing drivers, top drivers in their own cities, great tips and tricks, their stories of the week, and great stuff. So I'm on there once in a while. Please join us on Mondays. Check them out. Called Drivers Coast to Coast. So with that said, Levi, introduce yourself.
Hey guys, yeah. So my name is Levi. Before I was an Uber driver, I spent about 20 some odd years as an accountant and as an economist. I have 2 graduate degrees, both in an MBA and in public administration. So I know numbers and I love spreadsheets. And I've been driving for Uber for just about actually just at my 4-year mark. So I've been doing this about 20 to 40 hours a week, not quite full time, but pretty substantive. And so I got my 1099s just like everybody else, and I started looking at them and my tax summary statement. And I'll be honest, none of it made any sense. So you and I talked, Sergio, and I thought I'd just kind of dive into the numbers and see if I can explain things. And that's where we're at today.
I think Sergio might have froze.
Oh, Sergio froze.
Yeah.
See, I scared him away with all the numbers talk and stuff like that. So, Chris, we have a quick slideshow. I'll kind of run through
Yep.
that if you want.
Yeah,
And
let me know when you want to forward to the next slide, and we'll go from there. And Sergio, if you're there, come back in. So we're gonna pull you out for the time being, but come back in a little bit.
all right. So I'm going to tell you two things in this slideshow. Number one, what you need to know for your taxes. I'll just explain the forms. And then number two thing is I'll kind of show you some of the data that I found. And this is going to be a much bigger expose in the future. I can't explain everything because what I found is crazy. You need to stick around and wait for it. So let's go to the next slide. All right. So what you need to know. Next slide. Okay, there are 3 forms that we're going to get from Uber, and you're going to get 3 forms from Lyft. Now, I didn't drive very much for Lyft last year. I only did, I think, 100 rides or something like that. So I didn't get a 1099 from Lyft. So I'm only going to talk about Uber, but the data is still the same. And what you're going to get is a tax summary. And that's the document you're going to see over there on the left. And that's going to talk about the number of drives you've done and how many your online miles. But the crazy number that we're all going to look at is it says, hey, Levi, your gross payments were $54,000. And there's no way I made $54,000. All right. The number on the right, the third number is the $33,000. Let's see if I'm looking at it correctly. Yeah, $32,000. And that's actually was pretty close to what was deposited into my bank account from Uber. So that number in the middle are tax deductions. And oh,
Oh,
you skipped a couple of slides there.
I don't know how that happened, but hold on.
Okay, yeah.
I think
Go back to
Sergio's
the
playing around in the back end.
Sergio. We're gonna ban you. Go to the next slide. There you go. Next one. There you go. So let's explain the tax summary just real quickly. It's going to show the number of trips that you've done, how many online miles, and then it's also going to show you how much the passengers paid for the most part. That's the 55,000. There's some not accurate numbers in there, but that's that. And then the 32,000 is what was deposited into my account. The $22,000 in the middle, that's the most critical thing. That's the deductions, the taxes, airport fees, booking fees, whatever it may be, what Uber even paid itself on our behalf. And that's the $22,000. So that's itemized in what's called a table 1 on the second page of the 2023 tax summary that you're going to get from Uber. And it's going to break each one of those down. So what you're going to report, if you go to the next slide. Oh, let's go to the next slide. Let's go to the next one. Yeah, we'll skip around. There you go. So you're going to get 2 1099s, and these 2 1099s are what you're going to actually submit to the IRS. One's for 43,000 and one for me was 10,000. And that sums up to that $4,000 give or take. Now, this is really interesting. Why are there 2 1099s? And number one, the $43,000 basically represents all of what the passengers paid. The $10,000 is my bonuses, promotions, and my tips. The best I can tell, the reason why they break them up into 2 different transactions or 2 different 1099s is because they're 2 different transactions. If you think about it, right, Chris, when we do our Uber trips, the passenger pays the $20 for the Uber. We get in the car, we take them, somewhere. And then if they tip us, that's a second transaction. Same thing is true with our bonuses, our quests. Those are a separate transaction. So again, we're dealing with the IRS, we're dealing with Uber, 2 really cluster whatever of organizations. And that's why they are broken up this way. And I think if you go to the next slide, I even break down how I'll do my taxes here. So the gross payment that you're going to get from Uber, the combination of the 2 1099s, that's going to be reported as your income. And it's really important here because that is what Uber's telling the IRS they paid you. Now, you and I both know we didn't make that money, but that's what they're telling the IRS. The expenses and fees and taxes, if you break them out, you're going to break them out and itemize those as deductions in your taxes. And then that should give you the remaining amount, which is that $32,357 that I had. And from there, that $32,000, I'll continue with my deductions. So like I'm going to claim my mileage, my cell phone, Sirius XM, et cetera, whatever else is going to be your taxes. Chris, is that a pretty comprehensive? I didn't see any questions in the chat yet, but does that make sense so far?
Yeah, so far. I mean, at least from my end, I've been doing this for a little while though, so I'm sure if people in the chat have any questions, put it in the questions and we'll get back, or I'm sorry, put it in the comments and then we'll get to them.
Yeah, for sure. And just so you know, Chris, on my website, I'll release a more detailed explanation so people can go take a look at that. But the really interesting thing wasn't really this breakdown, because I think in the long run, if anybody's going to hire a tax expert or anybody else, they're going to get this solved by their CPA. Now, let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next slide. Here's what I learned. Now, again, I'm a data guy. And okay, what you're looking at, this table on the right-hand side, I actually went through every single one of my weekly statements. If you've gone into Uber and you've signed in and downloaded your weekly statements, I actually added up every single weekly statement. And what Uber said I earned in the weekly statements was $32,070. But you remember in the taxes, they said I earned $32,357. So right off the bat,
Fuzzy math.
It's fuzzy math, right? That didn't make sense. So that didn't make any sense. So I thought maybe I'd just look at 1 month. So go to the month of January, go to the next slide. And I compared my January monthly statement, because you can download them by the month, and I compared it to my weekly statements. And the numbers didn't quite add up. It was actually really complex. I was trying to get everything to balance to the penny, and I was off by about $40, and I couldn't find it. If you go to the next slide, it just shows you kind of what my numbers look like. Again, on my website, I'll dive through these more in depth, but I'm going to blow your mind here, Sergio and Chris and everybody else. Go to the next slide. Uber in their monthly statement said, I did 307 trips. But in their weekly statements, it totaled out to 303. It didn't make any sense. So the numbers, I was off by $46, but they didn't have the trips right. So I tried to find one more month where I had a clean month. And I was like, let me just see if I can make any sense of this. If you go to the next slide, I looked at the month of April. And then I looked in the app on my phone and just tried to track everything. The month of April was great because I basically had a clean month where the weeks actually totaled up correctly. If you look on the left, it says I completed 192 trips, right? Now, Sergio, what is 70 plus 70 plus 76?
216.
216. So in the app, it's telling me I did 216 trips. On their tax summary, they said I did 192 trips. Okay. So I'll summarize all this on the next slide. Well, go ahead.
You know what? Actually, I could probably figure out the discrepancy right here is because the months don't technically line up. So when they're doing your tax breakdown by month, what they do is it's from April 1 to April 30. And if you look at, say, like, April 24th to May 1st, that can actually go to the next month because of the way it's reporting. It's like it's kind of like when you do the new year. So if you get paid usually that last week on the first week of the year. So it doesn't qualify for 20, like the previous years. It qualifies for the next years because you actually get paid on the date of the next year. So that could be where the discrepancy lies. So if you went through, but the only thing is it shouldn't be 20 something trips that are not showing up there unless you did a really good day and you had like 20 something trips for that particular day or something.
Yeah, but Levi does like 50 a day.
I do like 50 in a day, but
there you go.
Yeah, Yeah, well, if you take a look, so maybe what you're saying, Chris, is potentially that 462. If you look in the very middle, it says March 27th through April 3rd, there's $462 that I earned. That 31st is actually reporting in the month of April, is probably what you're thinking. Even though I
Yeah.
drove it on the 31st
Yeah, it could
of
be.
March, it's showing in that. That's fair.
Yeah,
And that
because you got to remember what even though you could get cashed out that day because of Express or something, or the quick cash out, the thing is you're still going to get that weekly. So the weekly
Yeah.
doesn't end until Monday at 4 or at 3:59 a.m. So even if it's a couple of days difference, that could qualify where it would be into the next month. So you could see the couple of discrepancies. That may be something where you could probably look at the numbers and see if they do total up that way. But the biggest thing is it should be, if you're looking yearly to yearly, again, you might have like a few trips, because if you do the 31st first, in that time it might go off or where it is in the week. I'm not sure completely. I mean, this is something that maybe we might have to reach out to Uber or Lyft and see if that's the case. On the reporting, but yeah, that could be where the discrepancy does lie. So that might be something, if you look into and see, that might actually explain it.
that
Yeah,
that
I mean,
makes
that's a
total
good point.
sense. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Sergio.
No, that's a good point. I mean, obviously, I missed like 5 minutes of it. My Google thing crashed, so I took my virtual back screen down. Supposedly, there's a bug. Google is fixing it. So if you guys are running this kind of show, don't put your screen up. I have a question for you,
Go
Levi.
ahead.
So I have the 1099s and yearly statements of this Boston driver that did the behind the wheel with the highest earning driver in the country, according to what I know so far. When I looked at his 1099s, right, Uber numbers and his yearly summary, the numbers for 1099K and the 1099 NEC matched. And the other thing that wasn't there is that, it shows paid transaction count, right? This guy was doing like 7,700 trips a year. And those also matched. So on yours, did they match the 1099s dollars and the trip count to your summaries?
Yes, if you go back up to, I think, the third slide, Chris, those numbers matched.
Okay.
So the completed trips were basically there. They were off by just a couple, and Chris, that could be like you're talking about the New Year's
Yeah.
type of thing.
Yeah.
But my overall point isn't to necessarily accuse Uber of fraud or that they're making
No, no,
total
no.
errors here. I think
Yeah.
my total point here is it's really freaking complex. It's
Yeah.
it's absurdly
Mhm.
complex to try to dive through and make all of these numbers add up. So if you try to use your weekly statements, they don't add up to your monthly statements a lot of the time. Or if you look in your app and try to look and compare it to your weekly statements, the numbers just don't balance. And no matter what I tried, I couldn't get the numbers to balance. And it was just really frustrating because I felt like overall, the $32,000 that they're saying was my net payout was basically about right. It may have been a couple
Yeah.
$100 off from what I thought I had. So I do feel confident in enough to file my taxes, right? I don't feel
Yeah.
like it's totally an error and it's totally screwed up.
But
I just
for a
couldn't get
guy
it to
like you,
balance.
right? For a guy like you that's
Yeah.
a stickler for these things, this must be maddening, right?
Right. And I think the overall point, would be like, why is it so freaking complicated? It makes no
Yeah.
sense for it to be so complicated. You'd think it would be easier for other people to do. And if I have 20 years of experience and I know spreadsheets and I love to dive into the data, I should be able to make it balance, and I'm not able to do it. So I've actually hired and brought on a CPA. So I'm going to have the CPA go through it with me, and maybe I can get it to balance, and I'll do a follow up kind of expose. Did it really balance,
You
or is
know,
there really fraud, or something like that?
I had an amazing, like actually wonderful email this week, last week actually, from a driver who pointed this out. And in fact, we talked about this yesterday on Coast to Coast, right? Um, do you think the dollar numbers are matching? Remember, we talked about how sometimes, the riders have a discount, right?
That's right.
And so is Uber on our 1099s or the yearly summary not considering that discount and putting the higher number in? That's why our numbers are kind of skewed. You think that would be a possibility?
I think it is, and that's we talked about it last night, and I was unable to accurately track that data to give you a definitive answer here.
Yeah,
But basically, I had 500. It showed me 577 something dollars of
yeah,
Uber passenger discounts in
yeah,
my forms. But if I were to take that number out, it definitely changed the numbers. But because I couldn't get it to balance, I didn't know exactly the way they're accounting for it. You
yeah,
know, a good example, Sergio, is sometimes you know how they have our number in the weekly
yeah,
statements as a negative number
yeah,
and other numbers are positive. You're trying to get it all to balance. So when you look at a weekly statement, in and of itself, it works. Or if you look at any one of these documents by themselves, it works. It's when you try to compare any of the documents, you don't know how they applied it because they use different terms. And because one number is a positive in one form, but that same number could be shown as a negative in another form,
yeah.
I just couldn't get it to balance. So
No, I
I
mean,
can't,
no,
yeah,
if you couldn't imagine us, right? So, to
right.
me, it's like, yeah, for a simple business, as we always say on the channel, it's such a simple thing. Pick up point A, drop off point B. Why does everything have to be so complicated on their end, right? And even the reporting part of it. But the other thing that I wanted to quickly talk to you about is, I don't know if you guys did already. So if I'm repeating, then we'll pass. Um, Once you do your taxes, right, you're going to obviously I know we talked about your spreadsheets and all that wonderful stuff before about your cost per mile, right?
Yeah,
And your cost per mile down to the penny, right?
correct.
So how was, let's say, 2023 for you? What were your numbers like? Were they decent? Did you make same amount of money as you did the year before? How did that work out for you?
Yeah, I'm looking at my spreadsheet right here. You know that you, I didn't know what you were going to ask me exactly, so I had all of my numbers. And one quick note to all of your listeners: I share all of my data, so you can look at every single one of my weeks and every single one of my data points. But let's say my cost per mile is what you wanted to know. Let's say
Yeah.
cost per mile.
Well, I know you switched
Um,
cars towards the end of the year, but
That's right. So my cost per mile in 2020 was 27 cents. In 2021, it was 28 cents. 2022 is 27 cents. And in 2023 is 29 cents. However, this year I switched to the Tesla and my cost per mile is 37 cents. Cost per
37.
mile switching to the Tesla.
Is that
And
because
the
of your
reason why
depreciation?
the depreciation, yeah, my depreciation went from about 10 cents a mile to 14 cents per mile. The second thing is I didn't get my home charger installed quickly.
Yeah,
And so my supercharging just costs a lot of money.
very much so.
However, the last few weeks I've been getting closer down to about 30 cents cost per mile
Right.
with the Tesla.
Can you give us
It's
like a quick synopsis of how you come up with your numbers?
yeah,
Because look, the audience now
Squeeze it.
watching later, please listen to this man. This man knows the Bible of how to figure out fixed costs, variable costs, all this stuff. So give us like a quick summary of how you come up with your numbers, because that's the only way you're going to know if that's a profitable trip that you're looking at on the ping screen. If you don't know your cost per mile, how do you guys drive, right? All right, so how do you
yeah.
do it?
So I break it down into three parts, my cost per mile. Part number one is fuel. And for most people with a regular car, it's pretty easy, right? You can just track how many miles you drove, you know your miles per gallon, how much did you pay for fuel, and that will give you a pretty simple cost per mile. For electric cars, it's a little bit more complex because it depends on where you charge and how you charge, etc. But it's for the most part, you get your fuel cost per mile. The maintenance cost per mile is actually an estimate. It's not my actual maintenance cost per mile. What I do is I figure out, well, how much do tires cost? How much do oil changes cost? How much do brake changes? And how many miles do I change those things out? And then I can break those down, each one of those down to the penny for the most part. And then I can then add that back in as a cost per mile. And then the final thing, and I think the most important thing that very few people track is their depreciation per mile. Now, depreciation, again, it's just an estimate because I don't actually know what my depreciation is on the car until I sell it, right? Or
Yeah.
get rid of the vehicle. There's a couple of ways to depreciate a car, Sergio. The first way that most people think about is like, hey, I bought this car and immediately I take it off the lot, it depreciates a couple $1,000s. I don't do it that way. I just straight line to the depreciation.
Okay.
It's actually a pretty simple formula, and I've got all those calculators on my website. But the way I depreciate a car is I go, okay, I bought a car for 30,000 and let's say I have 0 miles on it. And then I'm going to drive 300,000 miles on that car. And then I could just take that. And at the end of the 300,000 miles, let's say it's worth 0. Then I
Yeah.
can take that formula, right? And just say, okay, it's 10 cents per mile. Cause I'm going to
Yeah.
get, and it's pretty simple. The Tesla, because I'm kind of new to it, I'm still not really sure. I've been depreciating it at 14 cents a mile.
I think
The
you're too
reason
high on
why
that.
I think I am a little bit too high on that,
Yeah.
but I'm concerned because I've heard crazy costs about the battery. But
Yeah.
let me tell you why I track it this way. And this is the most important thing. The reason why I track my depreciation is so when Uber pays me, let's say Uber pays me $1,000, but I know my costs for that week. I keep that money in a bank account and then I only pay myself absent my costs. So let's say my costs were $200. So I only take $800 out to pay myself, and I keep that $200 in that account to pay for my fuel to when I need the brakes done. I have money in a savings account. And if I want to then either A, make an extra payment on my vehicle, or if I want to use that money and save it up for a down payment on the next vehicle, I'm accounting for and accumulating all of my depreciation. Because you and I both know what a lot of drivers do is they cash out everything, they put it in their personal
Yeah.
bank account, and then when something happens, they don't have any money set aside.
That's
So
such great advice.
I have a lot of money set aside. I have enough to cover, the deductible. There's a $2,500 deductible, and if I ever have any kind of needs or maintenance repairs on my vehicles, I just have money sitting aside in my Uber account. And the final thing, I'll turn it back over to you guys. What's really good about this type of transaction is you can take these bank statements to a loan officer and prove to them that you've got a business because it's a separate account. All my
Yeah.
transactions are done through that account. So that's why I do it that way.
Do you have an LLC or you just run it on your personal stuff? No.
I just do it on my social. Yeah, I don't have an
Okay.
LLC.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is amazing advice, people. Seriously, don't mix business with pleasure, right? Don't take all that cash out and spend it, and then you need brakes, you need tires. Now you're driving on bald tires or worn out brakes, and customer hears it and they complain about it. This is like a chain reaction, right? Listen to this man. Seriously, I mean, I respect him as much as anybody I know in the business because, I mean, number one, his numbers isn't true, good numbers, and I don't know. I mean, I think if you don't take his word for it, then you guys are going to be lost. Now, one other thing, I know we're not giving tax advice, but when you're separating your income, do you also put money aside for your taxes out of that weekly, or do you just kind of not do it? I don't, because
I
well, first of all, do you take the 67-cent deduction? Is that what you do, or do you
I
do
do.
itemized deduction? Okay.
I do. I take the 67 cents. But the way I do it is each week I know how many miles that I drive, and then so I could say here if I made $1,000 and I drove X number of miles, I know this is my taxable income, and then I multiply that number by 15%, and I
Yeah.
save that money too. Right.
Okay.
So all of my costs and expenses are really just ways for me to put aside money for me so I can pay for taxes, repairs, and stuff like that. It's not real, right? Because I don't know what
Well,
my
I
taxes
mean,
are
it
going to
could
be.
change, but at
Yeah,
least you have the funds to be able to do it, because at the end of the year, I know a lot of drivers, they drive full time and then they owe taxes and they have no money to pay for it, right? And then they're in bigger
that's right.
trouble, which is like financially responsible, but I guess they have to do what they have to do. One last thing for you. I know you did a video, I don't know if you guys talked about it on your own channel. Please go visit his channel. It's in YouTube, tip you in the app. Amazing content, really. He's very calm, very cool, unlike me. so but you did a video, right? And then you broke down your last 4 years of driving down to trips, your cost and all that good stuff. So give us a little bit of a summary of your 4-year career, Uber driving career, and where you drive too, by the way.
Yeah, so I drive in Syracuse, New York, upstate, which is about 4 hours from New York City. I show you how remote our market is. We don't even have Uber Comfort. I mean, I can't itemize that. I can only pick Uber X. So I don't have a lot of options here. It's a college town. And over the last 4 years, I've learned to really just drive late at night on the college campus. It's true. I'll do 50, 55 trips in a 12-hour day. I start about 10 o'clock in the morning and I'll go till about 2 a.m., something like that. Um, It's been phenomenal. I quit my job as an executive at an agency just to do this. Now, I don't make as much money. I don't want to make it sound like I'm getting rich. You guys can see my taxes, and I share all my data. I make about $39 per hour before expenses on average. I do about 20 to 40 hours a week driving, but I love it. I think it's
Is that
phenomenal.
online hour? That's online hour, right?
That's my online hours, but my
But
online
then,
hours
yeah,
my
yeah,
online hours are basically my actual hours because what ends up happening is the minute I turn the app on in Syracuse, you're going to get a ride. There's no
yeah.
sitting around waiting for rides. I don't cherry pick. I know. It's the antichrist. I
No,
literally
but
take
I mean, no,
a
no, no.
ton of
But
rides.
I think
Yeah,
if you did cherry pick, you would probably do a lot worse because I mean, all
it's
you're
true.
doing is I know your style of driving. You're doing these really quick trips to do 15, 12-hour shift, right? It's not easy. You're doing these quick trips. Obviously, you have a quest that you're taking advantage of. Now you have the EV credit that you're taking advantage of, right? So to me, it's like that's for his market. So when you guys hear him making 39, don't complain that I'm not making 39. That's his market. But the
That's
point
right.
is, he figured out the strategy that's perfect for his market, and he's sticking to it, and he's enjoying it, and he's doing it. So, how many trips was it? 8,000? What? 800 some trips?
Yeah, a little over 8,300 something. I don't know. I
Yeah,
do so many trips on a weekend. I'm doing, 50 to 100 trips really quickly. But so to me, like I say, I'm a short trip guy. I take every trip it comes in. Now that my minimum is $5 because I get the dollar EV credit. But
yeah,
before that, I had the Prius. I do that. But I calculate, I know I'm going to get a Quest, and the Quests are pretty junk right now. They're like, 50 cents to a dollar per trip. But a number that I always calculate that I never hear anybody else talk about is tips. I average a
yep.
dollar 32 in tips on every single trip. That doesn't mean every trip
Wow.
tips me, but if I take
Yeah,
every trip, my tips, and just sum them up and divide them by the number of trips, so I know at a bare minimum I'm going to make $6 or $7 on every single trip. If I can get 5 of those done in every hour, that's what I'm going for. So I'm trying to do 5 trips an hour. I'm trying to just bust those suckers out.
yeah. Well, I mean, you're the best at what you do, and you know what works in your market, and you're hitting it. You're enjoying doing it. He's one of the Uber drivers that loves what he's doing, and coming from corporate America, doing this is not easy. It has its challenges. I'm sure you had your share of pukers here and there, but
That's right.
he's a great guy. He's personable. He gets the tips, and he knows his numbers. So please go visit his website, Tip You in the App. Go visit his YouTube channel, Tip You in the App, and then Mondays he's on Coast to Coast on X Spaces. Anything else to add? I'll give you the floor for a minute. Give our drivers some advice about how to battle the Uber beast, right? I mean, there's good, there's bad, and but to give our audience some advice.
Well, yeah, I think it comes across because I'm a very positive guy. I'm a nice guy, and I feel like I'm making good money. It comes across like I'm pro Uber, and I definitely feel that Uber deserves a lot of the complaints that we give. I think Uber isn't necessarily, and same with Lyft. There's problems with them all. The one thing that I would tell every single driver is have an exit strategy. And in fact, I would tell my entrepreneur friends have an exit strategy. So I consult other business owners, executives and startups. And the first thing I tell them is, how are you going to get out of this business? Are you able to sell out of it? So Matt, the guy on Drivers Coast to Coast, gave some great advice last night. He talked about doing multiple apps. Now I'm pretty much an Uber X kind of guy, so I'm kind of at a little bit of risk, but diversify, right? So if you do DoorDash, Uber Eats, Lyft, or whatever else is out there, Instacart, you diversify. If one of these apps shut us down, we're able to go out there and do something else. And I think there's a lot of other incomes that we can make as gig workers. I think a lot of you as drivers are talented. You're a writer, you're a graphic designer. And so we can, as because we're gig workers, diversify. So that way when Uber sucks, and it does suck for me in my market sometimes, like the whole summer, I just play a lot of golf, right? I can't count on that income. I would recommend everybody diversify. And the final piece of advice I would give you is that there's no ride worth it. Sometimes we'll get like a $40 surge, right? I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to make so much money, right? And there's no ride worth our safety, our health, our sanity. I don't need $40. There's just nothing I need for that
Yeah,
that kind of money. It's great. So I would recommend to everybody just drive a little bit slower, relax just a little bit. Don't get too crazy about one surge or one ride or one tip, because sometimes it's not worth it. So that's my advice.
I agree. I agree with you 100%. And thank you for coming on. Thank you for educating our audience now in the replays. I will see you around, obviously. So here's Levi from Syracuse, and king of short trips right here, and he's making it happen his way. So thank you, Levi. Much appreciated.
Hey, be well. Take care, guys. Bye.
All right, have a good one. Thanks. All right, so that was Levi. He's actually not too far. He's probably about 2.5 hours down the street from me, because he's in Syracuse. I'm in Buffalo. So another fellow New Yorker. So he's central. He's definitely Central State, but yeah, he's got SU, which is Syracuse University, right there. So he's able to take advantage of that. Beyond that, there's not much going on in Syracuse compared to, say, Buffalo or something, where it's a little bit bigger of a city. So you got a lot more going on. But yeah, the summer does suck when it comes to upstate New York as well, too. So even in Buffalo. But yep, that was some great information. Thank you, Levi. Appreciate that. If you guys have any more questions on, earning breakdowns or anything like that, let us know. We can put you in touch with Levi, or Sergio can also answer your questions on that.
Yep. Anyway,
All
so
right.
so let's get on with our show. Again, thanks to Levi. You guys can find him on Twitter, social media, Levi Spires. He's got a channel, YouTube, and a website. Great information on there. Great writer he is, and an amazing guy. I mean, a human being, first of all, before an Uber driver. So there you go.
Yep. All right, so let's get started. We have Sergio driving this weekend, doing his Lyft quests and doing his results on the 70/30. Now, this was your I accept everything for 20 trips.
No. I actually did not do that. What I did is I applied the second P of the. Here are my numbers. Let's apply the second P of the 3 Ps: patience, position, and planning. I don't get scheduled trips, so I can't plan now. I cannot be patient just for the fact that there's no surge in LA. I haven't seen surge in LA other than New Year's or Halloween special days. So being patient and cherry picking is not going to work, right? But what I did is I applied the second P, meaning when I was accepting a trip, I made sure that it puts me in a place that I can get another decent trip. Now, I've discovered a whole bunch of things this weekend by driving for Lyft. First of all, this is one driver, me in one market, but LA market is horrible market right now. From being one of the top 5 markets, I think we're probably bottom 5 market. I haven't seen a ride challenge or a ride streak or any bonus actually from Lyft for months now, right? And rightfully so, because I don't drive full-time. Maybe they're feeding their full-time drivers better than me, which actually I agree with, right? And they should be. They're doing bulk of the work. So I was online for 8 hours. I was active for 6 hours, 5 hours and 54 minutes, which puts me at 75% utilization rate. I got tipped on 2 trips. Out of 14 trips, 12 were ready to go. 2 made me wait about a minute, which was great. Thank you to all the passengers who are ready to go always. And here are my numbers: 118.66 book miles, 5 hours and 54 minutes. Let's say 6 hours book time, 14 trips. Now, if you take the 149.26, that includes tips divided, by 6 hours, that's exactly $25 per active hour. So when Mr. Risher says nationwide, on average, everybody's earning 30 to 32 per active hour, I can't even get there. And as per my online hours, 8 hours online, I was at like $18 per online hour. That's what the market is in LA. And that's with me picking trips, ending places that I knew I was going to get a decent trip. So I think we lost Chris now. So $149 or $150 for 6 active hours. 118 miles, 150 divided by 18 is about $1.25 a mile, which is decent. Whatever it is. There were a couple of comfort trips in there. I did not get any airport trips. And then I put a video up on Sunday, which has gotten like crazy popular, which was should people continue doing rideshare with these numbers? I mean, these are the best I can do in LA. This is not drunk hours. I work between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. So, decent hours, good weather, people going out. And then one other reason I wanted to do this is, for me, like, we have Crossfire coming up, okay? We actually debated this with Harry. I mean, $18 per online hour after my $7 per hour expenses, because that's what it takes my car to run, $7. I'm at 11. Now, with the risks that I'm taking on, that 120 extra miles that I drove, are the risks commensurate to pay these days? And I don't think it is. And we're a rideshare channel, and I put up a video, and it got like crazy amount of views and amazing engagement, 600 comments already in about a day. And I said, should I go flip burgers versus keep doing rideshare? Because after expenses, I'm at $11 an hour, and in LA, minimum wage is 17. And a lot of people said, yeah, I'm looking for a W-2. Yeah, I'm looking for a W-2. Maybe it is time to look for a W-2, because this is the best I can do in LA for those hours. And without incentives and without anything, it's not better. I mean, I can't do better than this. And I'm sorry to say it, but that's reality. Everybody needs a reality check these days, that it without incentives and drive, these are all base trips. There was no surge, right? So if I'm driving base trips, this is the best I can do. That's what it is. That's reality. And that's reality for many of you in many cities. Do you want to continue driving after expenses for $11 an hour, or you want to go stand at Target, make $18 an hour with no risk, right? So actually, it's in part of the debate coming up on Crossfire. I don't think it's worth it. I really don't. I'm not addicted to it. And this is on a weekend. In the weekday, probably numbers would be worse, right? So, I mean, that's everybody's individual decision to do, but put the screenshot up one more time. And then I wanted to see that Hocus Pocus 70-30 split Lyft introduced. I call it Hocus Pocus because it's truly Hocus Pocus. On 14 trips, according to Lyft, they paid $88.28 in estimated external expenses. The passenger paid about $282. Total paid, that does not include tips, obviously. The breakdown is on the right-hand screenshot. So according to Lyft, all of that is taxes, government fees, which you guys can see, $1.40, 10 cents it is in California for per trip, which is $1.40. And $86.88, Lyft tells me that it's two items, two credit card fees and commercial insurance. Okay, that's what I'm told, and I'm just relaying the message. So if you take $88.28 from $282, I'm left with $193. All right. So after that, now the external expenses, we have a 70-30 split guarantee. All right. And if you guys look at the numbers, after the I was at 192. 30% of 192, let's say $200, is $60. And look at Lyft take rate, $60 out of whatever was remaining after external expenses, Chris. So they pegged me at base rates. They will peg drivers right at 70-30, period. And if you're below it, on Thursday, you will get your adjustment. I think I'm going to get a couple of dollars in adjustment on this. But when Lyft came out with this, wonderful guarantee that they sold as PR, amazing. So I'm going to make it easy for you guys. For me, take rate is what the passenger paid and what I actually received without tips. Okay. This is not difficult. So the total, the passenger pay was $282. My ride earnings, as you guys can see on the bottom in the middle screenshot, was $132. That's Lyft took about 53%. I took about 47%. And that's, let's say 50-50. That's where it's going to be. If you're pegged at 70-30, it's going to be 50-50. Lyft took 50%. I'm not buying any of this external fees. Because for 118 miles, Chris, on booked miles, right? Lyft ended up paying $88.28 in commercial insurance, buddy. That's 70 cents a mile. That's nuts.
Yeah, that's insane.
I'm not buying any of it. Okay. So, and my concern now is that actually I want to do that. I want to test that. And if any of you have experienced that, please send me your screenshots. You know how Lyft sometimes throws you a crazy ride challenge, right? I've seen screenshots that the ride challenge was like 100 tips for $500, right? And the driver does it. Guess what the external fees were on that, Chris? $500. So I'm gonna go like, are they gonna giving you on one hand and taking it on the other way? I need to study this more. But here's the bottom line with the 70-30. Lyft, on their blog when they announced this 2 weeks ago, which we were a part of, they said 15% of drivers were always below the 70-30 threshold, and 85% were above the 70-30 threshold. What are the odds this algo is going to do 70-30 for everyone? So raise the bottom 15% a little bit and lower the rest of it right to 70-30. What do you think, Chris? You think they're going to do that?
I think that's going to be the way they're going to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I
thought. We talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the reality of it. That's what we talked about. I have a feeling that's going to happen. I think we're going to have to look at this a little bit more. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting too to see when it comes to these bonuses. So, I'm going to have to dig into it. We'll probably have to do a couple of different situations and scenarios. I do get a couple Lyft questions
I think you need to take
more than you're getting.
Virtual screen down.
What's up? What happened, Serge?
Oh, no. Okay. Are we back? Yeah, I think you need to take your back screen down. But long story short,
it's whatever Chrome update happened. It's like StreamYard is like going crazy right now.
Okay.
With whatever.
Anyway, so hopefully we'll finish the show in one piece. It was very disappointing to me. It really was. I mean, $11 after expenses, and after expenses, 18 per active hour. Mr. Risher, it's not there. It really is not there. And it all depends on incentives. And if I'm going to be pegged at 70-30 without incentives, I'm never going to be above 70%. So to me, it's pretty obvious what's happening. And at base rates, that's the best I can do in LA on a weekend. And I'm going to keep testing this. I'm going to go out, on a later shift. I'm going to start at like 5 p.m. and go to midnight or later to see if my earnings are going to improve. But I don't think they're going to improve that much. There is no surge in LA, Chris. There is no surge. None. Zero. And when there is no surge and you're driving for base rates with upfront fares,
you're in a hard place.
It's dismal. It's like, it's frustrating. And even with positioning myself correctly, because I know that even if I position myself correctly, the next trip I'm going to get is going to be a base fare anyway. What's the point, right? Might as well take everything and go. So anyway, David Richard is a great guy. Yeah, he's a great guy, but he has his job to do, and he has to do what he has to do, and we have to do what we have to do, and we have to make a decision as drivers. Do we continue working for $18 an hour before expenses all 9 hours? I'm saying, like, have a heart-to-heart talk with yourselves, drivers. Again, we're a rideshare channel. We don't want to lose any drivers, but it's time to have that reality check.
You got to figure out your needs first, and is this meeting your needs is the real question. So if it's not meeting your needs, then figure something else out. As Levi said, have a exit strategy just in case, or you have to have multiple fires burning. Plan B, C, D, just in case. So in the events that times are slow like they are right now, who knows how long this is going to last for? It may last, a couple more months. It may last a couple weeks. It may last another year and a half. Who knows? So the question is, how are you doing? Are you dipping into savings? Are you dipping into, money that you've put away for other things? Are you able to sustain where you're at? Are you actually able to profit? Where are you at? And then, you can base the decisions off that. Because when the good times are coming, I mean, everything's ebbs and flows. So we're going to have the slow times. We're going to have good times. Just depends on when the good times are coming. So you can always take a little break from Uber and Lyft, or, food delivery or whatever it is, go get a job for a little while. Cause some of these jobs, like delivering pizzas or flipping burgers or standing at Target or whatever it might be, it could be something that's temporary, and then you're not putting any miles on the cars or anything like that. You could get a little reprieve there, but it just depends on what you guys need to do or where you're at. So have that serious conversation with yourself.
Yeah, to answer Carrie B, your question, yes, he's going to come on in April, sometime first couple of weeks of April. Obviously, he's not going to take audience questions, but I will ask him direct questions. Look, I'm going to have another decent talk with him I'm told that he's coming on, so that's the latest I know. But look, at the moment, rideshare, with the risks you're taking as a full-time driver, part-time driver, driving extra miles, putting extra miles on your car after expenses may not be worth it. I'm telling you, I'm being super honest. And that's where we are at the moment on both apps too. Maybe Uber is a little bit better, but I'm going to keep testing. I'll keep driving different shifts, different days, but no incentives, base rates, no surge. This is where the business is at.
Yep. Well, let's move on. Let's talk about the Lyft shaving spreadsheet that you have and put together.
I need everybody to do this. There's a video coming up on this in Sergio's diaries. These are my 14 trips for the weekend. I'm going to go really quick because it's going to be in the video anyway. Please check it out. So all basically I did is, to Lyft's credit, by the way, Chris, they're really transparent now, right? On the left side, there's two boxes. Left side box is estimated ping,
yep.
Right? When it comes in, the right side is the actual. All I did is transfer that information to a spreadsheet. And on my 14 trips, in those 6 active hours, ran a total. I mean, again, pretty simple, and numbers all match. None of the pricing was adjusted. I did hit my into the wall on that 5th trip, as you guys can see, which lasted 2 extra minutes and 2.39 more miles than normal. I guess I did not hit the, significantly longer threshold for that, Chris. But just to prove a point to Lyft, which is I have contacts there, I sent him the 2-hour back and forth with black hole support, right? And the person that I'm dealing with was like, is this what you guys go through? I go, yeah, this is exactly what we go through to get an adjustment. Obviously, I didn't get an adjustment. But long story short, please go watch the video. It should drop about 6:30, 7 o'clock tonight in Sergio Diary. So on this total, I drove 22 extra minutes, Chris, and 5.63 miles extra without compensation. This is what upfront fares is doing, people. Okay. Before upfront fares, I would have gotten paid for all of that because we had a rate card at 80 cents a mile, 13 cents a minute. I would urge everybody, please do this. It is a little bit more difficult on Uber because when Uber sends you the ping, you need to take a screenshot of that to get the P2, P3, period 2, period 3. But then when Uber reports it after your trip in your summary, they only put P3 when the butt was in the back seat. Lyft, to their credit, very transparent, left side of the box, right side of the box. All I did is, transfer the numbers to a spreadsheet. Pretty simple columns: Lyft upfront estimate, Lyft actual result, time difference, miles difference, upfront. UFD means upfront fares and destination, and the actual. So all the numbers lined up. So I drove for 22 extra minutes, and there were some that went under, there were some that went over. The worst one was 9 minutes that went over. Of course, you're not getting adjusted. So under upfront fares, Chris, this is what we call shaving. Before upfront fares, I would get compensated for those 22 minutes extra. So time is something we cannot get back, Lyft. And if nothing I can change this year, this is going to change. Somehow we have to change this. I don't want to drive, or myself, or Chris, or anybody here, out of 400 people, or however many there are. I do not want to drive 1/10 of a mile for free and 1 extra minute for free. I just don't want it. Now, push comes to shove. On that 9-minute trip that went over by 9 minutes, should I have kicked the passenger out when the upfront estimate hit it on the nose? No, of course not. So you guys are putting us in a really horrible situation here. And this is like almost exploitation. I'm not sure if this is legal or illegal at the moment, which I'll figure out shortly. But this is exploiting the driver. This is exploiting the goodwill of the driver. Why should I drive? Would any of you at Lyft, if I came to you and said, oh, by the way, you're going to work 22 extra minutes for free today, what would you say? What would you say to your department manager? I'm not going to drive extra 22 minutes on the house. This is becoming a charity now. Upfront fares is causing this, and this is going to end. Sergio, you need at least one more column on that spreadsheet. What would the pay have been? I did that already, and to be honest, half of them on upfront, it would have been over. Half of them on upfront would have been under, and the difference was I would have due to upfront fares, I probably would have lost like $2.50, which that's why I didn't put that column, but I thought about it, Mike Smith. But my thing was, how much am I getting shaved, right? Because when the estimate comes in with all their technology, they're sending me a price and time to pick up, time to delivery, or time to drop off. Why out of 14 trips? Chris, if you look at this, what if I'm a full-time driver, okay? And I drive 40 hours a week, right? Extrapolate these numbers to 40 hours, buddy, right? Times 10.
You're looking
220
right.
minutes for free and 50, 60 miles for free? Why? Why Lyft? Why Uber? Uber is the same shit. I feel like Lyft is a little bit worse. So please go watch that video today. It's gonna be a good video. Yeah, but this needs to go away. This needs an overhaul, and I'm not happy about it. And if I just 22 minutes, why? Just pay me, or do a top off at the end of the week, like just like I figured out. Lyft, figure out the overs, figure out the unders. Simple. I drove 2 hours extra. Pay me with the old rate card. Give me a top off, just like you're doing with your 70-30 Lyft, right? If we're under 70, you're going to give us some money, right? Hocus pocus. Do a real hocus pocus on this and pay me for my time, because my time is valuable as much as any executives at Lyft. So there you go.
Yep. Yeah, I think that would be a better way to look at it, because yeah, you're getting paid for your time and distance no matter what. If the car's moving, you should be getting paid for it. If you're sitting there, you should be getting paid for it. Not this freebie crap. So I'm right there with you. I stand in solidarity with you. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about what's going on with Uber changing their quests. So weekend quests are now Thursday through Saturday and are in line with peak demand. I don't know about you, but sometimes Sunday is pretty busy, but there's a lot of people out there who are trying to get those last few rides in. So what are your thoughts on this one? But essentially,
initially I didn't think much of it. Yeah, I didn't think much of it initially, Chris, but then I had like 3 of these immediately, and this is from Matt in Boston, who is part of that Coast to Coast group. Really great driver. He goes, Sergio, have you seen this? I had it, but it wasn't in this detail, right? And then when I saw the details, I go, all the weekend warriors, you're all screwed now. That's what I thought. because your day is ending Sunday at 4, right? So before, if you're just driving on the weekend, Saturdays and Sundays, your quests are not going to count. The Sundays, airport trips, and all the other stuff that you do on Sundays, because it's ending at 4 a.m. on Sunday. So now they're kind of forcing you to drive on a dead day. I mean, there are 2 dead days in the week. Tuesday and Thursday are the 2 dead days. That's my days off. Right?
Well, that's not true. That's not true.
Well,
if you have a college nearby, Thursday is a great night.
Okay,
Thursday is a real thing, and when I go out on Thursday nights, I can make a good amount of money. So it just depends on where you are. So that's when you're looking at it this way, it's going to come down again to planning. And we talked about the 3 Ps earlier. Planning on that. So I think some markets are probably going to enjoy this because Sundays are going to be probably a little bit quieter for those particular areas. But yeah, Thursday is a real thing. And yeah, if you set yourself up, you can make some pretty good money.
Okay, so Elizabeth is saying the same thing as you are. I'm not in a college town, so I take you guys' word for it. But there are people, that strictly drive on the weekends, right? Because they have a W-2, they can't drive Thursdays. They used to drive Friday, Saturdays and Sundays, and this is bad for them. I mean, that's all I could think of, other than what is it? They figured out in their data that they need more drivers on a Thursday. So if they do that, and first of all, this driver read all this, sent me this, and then he clicked. Where it says select the new quest on the bottom? The tab. He clicked on it. There was no quest.
Oh, jeez.
So if you guys have this, please send it to me, Sergio at therideshareguy.com. Send me the numbers. Let's see what the numbers are going to be like.
The reality is, though, I hope that this is more of a test and not going like national. Because there were a couple of things that was going around and it was in several markets, but we never got it, and then it just kind of faded away. So it was oh, okay, perfect. So I'm hoping it's one of those things. But yeah, I mean, I think the biggest point is the people who are the weekend warriors. Basically, if you have a job, you don't want to go out on a Thursday because you have to work on Friday, most likely. If you have a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, so that's going to screw a lot of people out, because now instead of being able to split it between the 3 days, the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, now you're down to 2 days. So now how many drivers did you just screw out of getting this type of quest or this type of bonus, because they can't really go out on a Thursday because of that issue?
Yeah, I agree. And this is probably for a lot of part-timers. Full-timers are going to drive those days anyway. It doesn't make a difference. But
the reality is how many part-timers are versus full-timers. So
yeah, a lot more. A lot more part-timers. And look, I don't have this in LA. I don't know. So if you guys have numbers attached to this new quest structure, please send them to me. Like if you got one, Thursday through it's going to be Thursday through Sunday now, right? No, Sunday 4 a.m. Okay, so Thursday 4 a.m. to Sunday 4 a.m. and the next quest is going to be Sunday 4 a.m. to Thursday 4 a.m. now, as opposed to Monday, Friday, and the other one, right? Okay.
Yep.
Petty,
So my
thank
question
you.
to everybody in chat, I see a couple of people saying that, I think it's a good thing. I think it's going to be a bad thing. What are your thoughts on this switch? Do you like this switch or not? Let us know in the comments because I'd like to know. Petty T, thank you. Appreciate the super chat. Coffee.
Thank you, Petty. Thank you.
um,
Amazing driver,
Sergio,
by the
what
way.
do you think about this change? Is it going to affect you in any way, or what do you think?
I don't have a quest. I haven't seen a
Well, I mean,
quest in
if
3 months.
speaking as if you had a Quest. I know you
Oh,
don't have Quest, but I'm saying speaking if you had one.
if I had one, I don't think it's going to matter to me that much. Okay.
Appreciate it,
But
Nathaniel.
thank you, Nathaniel. Yeah, I don't think it's going to matter to me that much. I mean, Tuesdays for me, that's why we used to call it terrible Tuesdays. Tuesdays are
Yep.
horrible days in LA. Okay. I just, that was my
I
day off.
agree.
So,
Same in Buffalo.
yeah. So if it's Thursday through Sunday, to me, I think it'll be doable, depending obviously on the quest. If I do get a quest,
Mhm.
I'll try it out. Let's see what it is. Let's see what the numbers are. I don't mind driving Thursday. I'm sure they have a reason to do it, you know. But again, the quests, Chris, are all incentive-based things, and they're variable. I mean, it's not your control
Yep.
that like, oh, I want a quest this weekend. No, it
Yeah.
doesn't.
No, I
It
know, but
doesn't
I'm
work
saying
like
like as the hypothetical question, like the switch, is this something
I
that
think
you'd
it's okay.
appreciate more, or that you wouldn't? Would be
If I was
worse?
a W guy and full time on the weekends, like 12-hour hard hit, like because most part timers on the weekends they work Friday night, they work all day Saturday, and they work probably until 5-6 p.m. on Sunday, right?
Mhm.
And then they have work the next day. So to me, it will hurt them. I'm pretty sure because, like you said, they're not going to be able to drive, Thursday. So
Yep.
and they're not going to be able to drive Sunday. Their days cut a day short. I think it will hurt the weekend warrior, super hard time, 20-hour, 25-hour, 12-hour shift drivers. I think it will bother them a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, in my area, I think the switch would actually be better because, like I say, Thursday's busier than Sunday.
Okay.
So if you, at least in my area, and I can take advantage of it that way because I can
Okay.
go out Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But yeah, I mean, when Monday is actually pretty decent because you have all of your bar staff that are going out and having a good time. So if you plan out that accordingly in the right areas, you can really make some money, at least in my area. So you get all the bartenders that are going out to enjoy for their weekend, which is their Monday night. For the few bars that are open, Tuesday's just a crap show. I mean, Tuesday just sucks. So that's never usually busy.
Mm,
Wednesday around here is usually pretty slow too. But Thursday, Friday, Saturday are the really good days, and then depending on what's going on maybe Sunday. But I think something like that on the weekend could potentially be better. But again, it's for those who can take advantage of it.
yeah. So I got this from Boston, and I got it from I think Atlanta. So those were the drivers. And Uber doesn't release everything right away. They test it. But Matt is in Boston, and I'm sure this is to some drivers. The odd thing I thought though was like he clicked to see the quest. There was no quest. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Like, what the hell?
Anyway,
All right,
yeah,
let's move on. Let's talk about our next topic,
yeah. New
and
Jersey
we're going to
got it.
continue on with Uber. But the problem is, drivers. We've been taken for granted for for so long. I think Dar is finally realizing it.
Yeah, full of shit. I call that one. So anyway,
Yep.
this was a Business Insider article that came out. Dara has been in India. He's been playing cricket. As opposed to coming and show me the money, Dara. You know what I mean? It's all right. It's all right. We're like, you're treating us like yesterday's stepchild, but it's okay. Now we have a Hispanic channel, Spanish channel. We're gonna grow to like 500,000 subs, and then you're gonna listen to me. That's what's gonna happen. But it's okay. So he was in India. And he was like, he did this piece and said, took its drivers for granted and continue to do so, as far as I'm concerned. Now, maybe you guys don't agree with me. So he says he acknowledged that the drivers, had been undervalued. Okay, I agree, still do. And Uber needed to earn their loyalty. You know how you can earn somebody's loyalty, Dara? Like, even when you go to park at the valet, slip the guy a 20, he'll park your car right in front. Even if it's a beater, be right in front of a Bentley, okay? Money talks, BS walks in driver language. And that's how you earn our loyalty. Loyalty is not going to happen with our earnings. According to the Uber's own blog, 10 quarters in a row, driver earnings are down. 10 quarters. That's 2.5 years, Dara. You know what I mean? But yeah. So for Uber's CEO, Dara Khosrowshahi, it's pretty clear.
That. Thanks.
Thank you, Paul. Much appreciated. So for Uber, Dara Khosrowshahi, it's pretty clear who got the ride-hailing service through the pandemic. It's drivers. Oh, thanks. Thanks, DK. Much appreciated. And then he goes, before COVID, I would say, just being self-critical, we took our drivers for granted to some extent. Okay. He said, we were generally oversupplied. We were much more of a consumer-focused company, and the customer, and the rider or eater was always right. Now, this article, what's the date? It's too small, Chris. What's the date of this article, buddy?
February 22nd, so about 5 days ago.
5 days ago. And now, could this article be written like 4 years ago and it'd be valid?
Yeah.
Exactly would. Yeah. So what has changed? Okay, any of you, please comment in the chat. This is an article from 5 days ago when he was in India, okay? Go back a little bit, yeah. And, but to the reporter's credit, many have reported increased competition, declining earnings in recent months. At least Business Insider gives these guys back a little bit. They don't just cut and paste from their PR. And then he says, we started celebrating employees going out there delivering, employees driving. Wonderful. Dara, you got tip baited a year ago on your PR puff piece in the Wall Street Journal. Is tip baiting on UberEats still around, Dara? Yes, it is, Dara. So what did you learn? I guess not much, but that's okay. And he goes, it's a pride of point. You know what? This is what all these employees who are supposedly driving, this is what I want you guys to do. I want you to guys donate your monthly exorbitant salary to charity and go drive with the pressure that the driver has, paying rent, buying food, paying gas money, paying the insurance, paying the car note. 1 month, one single month, drive with that pressure. Okay? Not with the $50 million check and the $50 million bonus coming your way. Drive with that pressure for 1 month. Then I will take my hat off to you. I'll come kiss your feet. Do it. There's my challenge to you. For 1 month, give your $3 million monthly check to a charity of your choice. Go drive in your Tesla for 1 month with the pressure that the driver is facing. Okay? Then we'll talk. And then lastly, some are pushing back this and that. Now, here's my offer to Uber. Do you see this, Chris, on the right-hand side? That lady's picture over there?
Yep, Alex.
All right. Okay, this person is Alex Rosenblatt, who's an amazing researcher, who wrote a book in 2019 called Uberland. She interviewed 5,000 drivers to write this book, and Uber did not like this book one single bit. Because the problems, Dara says, that were existing, oversupply. He was talking about oversupply. What about now, Dara? There's massive oversupply now, just like before. You do not have the driver's loyalty. That's why there was a strike or protest in 25 cities.
Less now than back then.
Definitely less now. We run our surveys. Dissatisfaction rate, 1 stars Uber and Lyft got, were the highest in any of our surveys we did. All right. Just talking straight shit now. Okay. Because we're going to say something at the end that, then you guys will understand that they're watching, and I know they are. So Uber hires prominent critic. This lady was a critic, and the book was amazing, and it's Uberland. It's worth every penny. Go buy it. Go read it. 2019. What did they do with her? They hired her. Okay.
They
and they shut her up. and they bought her out, and she was supposed to be driver liaison or driver advocate inside Uber. This is my challenge to you, Alex Rosenblatt. I would love to interview you one-on-one on Show Me the Money anytime, open invitation. I want to hear from you what you have done for the last 4 years as a driver's advocate inside Uber. I would love to have that chance to sit down and talk with you, okay? Because I have not heard one word from Alex Rosenblatt as they hired as a driver's advocate inside Uber. Now, Uber, here's my offer to you. Here's my offer to you, Uber. You hire me, okay? Pay me what you're paying her. I go get my 10 warriors, hand selected. Give me my office. Let's see if we can fix this shit. That's my offer. I doubt it, but that's the offer. And Alex Rosenblatt, it's not a challenge. I'm sure you're a nice person. I don't know you personally, but I've read your book. It was an amazing book. For the last 4 years, I have not heard a word from Alex Rosenblatt as an inside Uber driver's advocate or driver liaison. Come out of the shadows. Come on the show. Let's talk. Let's see what you did over the last 4 years. I'd love to interview you. So, with that said, there you go. That's where we are. Nothing has changed.
My question to you is, do you think she's actually working, or do you think she just
yes,
has
she
that?
Is. She's still there.
Job?
I have confirmed that she's still there.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Very interesting, because you got those mob jobs that you got that title and you're just getting paid, but you don't show up at the no-show jobs. I was just curious. I always thought she was a no-show job, so they offered her a job as driver liaison, and it was just one of those things just to shut her ass up, and that was that.
Well, initially it may have been that, but her title is that. It's in there, right? It says right there, Uber hires prominent critic to focus on treatment of drivers. This was 2020. 4 years, Alex. And Dara, with all due respect, if you do that, I'm willing to take a picture of that, come and kissing your feet. Donate your $4 million a month salary to a charity. Get in your Tesla 1 month, drive for 1 month, and pay your monthly rent or bills with that money that you're going to make. Okay, there you go. So,
all right, let's move on. Let's talk about the fake accounts. What's going on in DoorDash, UberEats, all food companies? What's going on there?
We've been talking about this, bro. I'm telling you, this is a sad story, people. So I'm going to go real quick. This Venezuelan migrant. In fact, last week that Luis was on, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
A couple of weeks ago. Okay.
Yep.
Luis Berti from Delivery TV. I'm working with him on this. There are millions of fake accounts out there who are taking actually food from the table of actual honest working delivery people and gig workers in the country, and Uber Eats and DoorDash are not doing anything about it. There was a 22-year-old nursing student who was killed last week, and the murderer was Jose Antonio Ibarra, who had his checkered history from where he's from Venezuela, from the moment he landed in this country. And he's the suspect. I'm not saying he did it, but he's the suspect. As we know, in this country, innocent until proven guilty. But he got arrested for it last week for the murder of that poor girl. Now, I'm not going to politicize this, talk about immigration and this and that, okay? I have my opinions. I'm sure you all do yourselves. So I'm just going to read this. The illegal immigrant arrested for killing a Georgia nursing student crossed the border in Texas September 8th last year and sent to a processing facility there, but was quickly released before being put on a bus to New York City, where he was later busted and set free again for endangering a 5-year-old, putting a 5-year-old on the back of a moped without a helmet. But that's okay. That's not okay, but it is what it is. Jose Antonio Ibarra and wife of Venezuela entered El Paso together with their 5-year-old. I guess it was his own son that he endangered. Okay, next screenshot. Ibarra, 26, was working for what, Chris? What is he working for?
DoorDash, Uber Eats, and a local restaurant.
Yeah. How the F, DoorDash? How the F, Uber Eats? Huh? We've been talking about this for a month now. I'm not going to let this one go. This is going to go on and on. I'm going to work with the media. I'm going to work with Luis. This is shit. This poor girl, right? And look, society is messed up as it is, okay? I mean, innocence right here, whole career life ahead of her, right? But that's not the story. The story is, how does this guy get on DoorDash and Uber Eats? Execs? How does that work out? Huh? Yeah. You need to end this before many more of these happen. This is bullshit. But anyway, yeah, I'm pissed off on this, bro. In August, for endangering the welfare of a child, which was his own child, after he was caught in Queens riding a gas-powered moped with Franco's son on the back. This is his own son, without any head protection and in case, right? The case was later sealed, and this guy was still walking. They let him out again, twice. And then the last screenshot.
That was the only one.
That was it? Okay. So, yeah, DoorDash, Uber Eats, New York, Chicago, Florida, full of these immigrants. Barriers to entry easy, fake accounts all over the place. This is bad for the consumer. I mean, what else needs to happen here? You guys need to end this. I know you need somebody to take the trash out for you guys, those $2 no tip DoorDash orders. This needs to end. This is horrible. Okay, so
for all the people who are asking how they passed the background check, it's because it's a fake account.
It's somebody else's account. Like, you know, you guys get like hacked and somebody steals your ID. They're probably driving on your ID. And it happened to our own Gabe in San Francisco. They stole his ID by the time he went, and they deactivated Gabe, by the way. You know, this was like about a few months ago. Gabe went to Uber Hub, and Uber Hub told him, somebody in San Diego did like 600 deliveries with your name and ID, and somebody in Boston, I think, or whatever it was, they did another 400 trips. Okay, so it's out there. You guys can all go buy yourselves a second, third account. Okay, easily done. So there you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
So big problem. It's an unfortunate thing that's happening, and you know, if there's anything that you're seeing in your particular area, hit up Sergio
at therideshareguy.com. Please email it to me. Email me all you got.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Alto. Alto is a ride-sharing platform that uses the employee model. For those who don't know, we've had Will Coleman, the CEO of Alto, on the show before. He's also been on the RSG podcast a couple of times, I believe. And they are pulling out of a couple markets, as well as abandoning an all EV plan.
Yeah,
so
we had Will on a couple 3 months ago, and he was talking very highly. And you know, look, Alto is a company that gives you the car. Just you're an employee. You have obviously employee rights, and you work 40 hours. You get healthcare, 401k. In the industry, we call that a vertically integrated business model, meaning they own the cars. They take care of the cars. They gas the cars up, insurances on them, everything. You just show up to drive, you know, for 18 to 22 bucks an hour. So unfortunately, you know, the capital markets are not there, according to him, according to this article a couple of days ago. And they pulled out of DC, Washington, DC, and they pulled out of Miami. So they still have operations, I think, in Houston, in Dallas, in LA. I know they have a hub. So they're pulling back a little bit. You know, they had also pulled out of Palo Alto a few months back. Yeah, it's a difficult business to compete with Uber and Lyft, although he said they were not actually competitors to Uber and Lyft, but obviously, you know, things are not there. I mean, he was pretty upbeat in the article. He still says growth was good. All the targets were being reached, but capital markets are tight. They also had an EV, all EV plan going by 2030. Obviously, they pull back on that. That's not going to happen. You know, this happens with startups. This happens with newer companies. You know, they're out there. They put their name out. It's a very capital-intense industry. I mean, Chris, if Uber and Lyft can hardly turn a profit not owning the cars, how's Alto going to turn a profit owning the cars, right? And those are not cheap cars. Those are $50,000, $60,000 cars. So, yeah, I mean, sad to see, but hopefully they'll come back. We actually pointed Alto out to you guys for a tool in the toolbox. You can go put your Alto shirt on and Alto hat on, and make 22, 20, 23 bucks an hour. But they're pulling back, so sad to see that happen. But hopefully they'll come back.
Yep. Yeah, it's one of those things. The all EV rollback is just another thing that many other companies have been saying, and actually, I believe it's what car company? They're going in. They're shying away from an all EV fleet coming for 2030 and saying we're
Yeah.
not doing that, and they're investing more in the hydrogen engine, backing Toyota, not Mazda.
I think Harry lined it up. We're going to interview the CEO of Captain, who
Okay.
is doing the EVs in New York. They're all EVs. The same business model as Alto. They all own the Teslas. They're all Teslas, blue Teslas. It's called Captain, and there's another company called Revel, which is in
Revel.
Vegas.
Yeah, Revel is the same exact kind of thing with the blue.
Yeah. So, there are companies trying owning the car, just hiring employees, but it's a tough gig, bro. You got to compete ultimately with Uber. So, it's tough.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. So, yeah, we'll keep you guys posted on anything like that. There may be some more drivers that are coming to the platform in those couple of areas. 300 drivers are without going to be without a job, so they're getting laid off.
Guess
They
what,
may
right?
they may be putting on Uber and Lyft hats and shirts very soon. So, might be a little bit more saturated there, but they might actually not even go that route. So we'll see what happens. Yes, I agree. I think hydrogen is going to be the real thing. We had incandescent light bulbs for how many years, and then it went to the
LED,
CFL
yeah.
bulbs, and the CFL bulbs came and went just as quick, and now it's mostly LED.
Yeah.
LED are far superior in that aspect. I think it's the same thing. I think we had the ice powered car. I think it's going to go to the EV craze for a little bit, and then the hydrogen is going to be the much bigger engine overall. And if they can miniaturize a nuclear reactor, hey, that's a real possibility too. So we'll see what happens there. But I don't think EVs are going to be the future. I think they're just
I like
a
my ice
stepping
car,
stone to
buddy.
the next. Yeah.
I like my ice car. Yeah.
I like buying. That's why I went that route. For a number of reasons, but we can save that for our members only live chat on Thursday
All right,
discussion when
sounds
it
good.
comes to
That's
EV versus ICE and all that. So make sure you're a member if you're not, so you can see what that conversation is going to entail, because we're going to
yeah.
definitely have some great conversation on that one. All right, let's move on though. Let's talk about the Uber drivers are scamming passengers and what's going on there. Some of you may have seen this.
You
It's
sent me
just
this,
kind of hit
right?
around. What?
You sent me this, right? Because you said make sure you put this in there or something.
Yeah. I came across this the other day. Quite a few people have already covered it, but we do our weekly show, so we're going to be talking about it as well too. And this is where drivers were threatening passengers by saying automatic 30% tip if you don't tip your driver. So it was a big problem there. And,
Don't do it.
that's not something that is real. That's not something that you should be doing. And if you are caught doing that, guess what's going to happen? You will get the quick deactivation, because all it takes is a passenger to say, hey, that's what you did. And, it's going to be hard for you to get out of that, especially if you're the one who's sending the message through the in-app support chat, because they have access to that and they can see exactly what you sent.
Yeah. I mean, this driver was sending in-app messages. All untipped rides will receive a 30% automatic tip. Why? Why do this? Why? For 2 minutes of fame, it gets into Daily Dot, it gets onto TikTok. These need to end too, but I can't. And then, don't do this. This is like giving drivers like Levi a bad name, right? And Levi gets tipped, or Sunshine Man, who's here today, gets tipped as more than anybody I know without doing any of these shenanigans. If you're not making enough money, buddy, quit. Do something else. Don't do this.
Yep.
Okay? Don't. You're giving everybody a bad name or a black eye. Don't. I get it. We're not making enough money. You're trying to squeeze the rider. Why? It's not the rider's fault. Rider's getting ripped as much as you are by Uber and Lyft. So I'm just don't do this. Please don't do this. This is this is dumb. Seriously dumb. So, yeah.
Yep. So it's definitely something you don't want to do. But yeah, it's one of those things that if you get caught doing something like this, you're going to be off the platform very, very quickly. So again,
I have unconfirmed reports on this. Okay,
tips
but
are up.
I haven't checked with the company, but I know I talked to a driver, East Coast. He said his drivers he received more Lyft tips this week than any time in the last 6 years. I'm going like, why? He talked to his passengers. Lyft on a 15-minute trip, let's say, right, Chris? On the 5th minute is prompting in the app, by the way, if your ride is going well, consider tipping your driver. Every 5 minutes, Lyft is prompting the rider in the app to tip. How awesome would that be? And the guy goes, you know what, Serge? Nobody tips me on Lyft. I got more tips on Lyft this week than ever before. And that's why I put the comment up. So, Petty, it may be happening to your riders as well. But I'm going to confirm this with Lyft. If you're doing this, awesome.
I think the other way to confirm this is to actually take a ride and see if that's the case. So next time you guys are taking a ride, if you do take a ride, see what happens. Yeah, that would be definitely a nice little thing to have something like that. But biggest thing is it shouldn't be subsidized by tips. So if that's what they're trying to do by saying, hey, tip your driver, and then they're going to lower the pay, I don't think that's something that should be done. I think that the pay should be where it should be in terms of fair pay, and tip would be anything on top of that. So then that way you're able to, maybe not have to work an extra shift, or, take that and put that towards something extra, whatever it might be. So I don't think that if that's their goal, I don't think that should be something that should be done.
Look at these. That's a record for Lyft. I usually don't get tipped on Lyft. Anyway, but
Nice.
if you're doing it Lyft, we'll talk this week.
Nice.
It would be nice. I mean, to confirm this is just awesome.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. All right. Well, before we move on, hold on, give me a second. You want to win $25 of Sergio's money, then put hashtag SMTMC into the chat right now.
I only made $150, buddy.
Oh, that's okay. That we're only giving away 25. So think of it as the depreciation that you lost for not getting paid for the 22 minutes and 5.89 miles.
Oh, that's now you're just like salt on my wound now. Not only you didn't get paid, Serge, but now you have to pay more. I'm okay, fine. Okay. All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, all right. Well, we do fake names every week. Actually, we do want to we want to kind of do a little retraction, because last week we did name a name that was actually a real name, and it was verified by Uber, and they got hold of us and said that was a real name, even though that it can cause some heartache and some issues. Apparently it is a real name that was verified by ID. So we do want to make that clarification. But when it comes to other fake names, Sashin talked about this a year and a half ago at this point, and yet it's still not done. The other thing too is Uber. You claimed that you were coming out with a verification badge. Where the F is that then? Because a name like Swastika, if that is actually verified and verifiable, you should have the little verified badge next to it, so that person knows, yeah, okay, there's an ID tied with that and everything's okay. So that's the issue that I have. Secondly, why haven't you done this? Why haven't you just put the IDs out there for people to have to put an ID onto their account, and then that way it verifies riders? The verification is a good thing. A lot of people like being verified and things like that. You could even spin it that way. You spin how many times of, let's see, pay cuts and bullshit that drivers have to deal with selling catch a popsicle to a woman in white gloves. You're basically doing that all the time. Do the same thing. Hey, we want to verify you, so we're going to verify your account. All you have to do is upload your ID, and then you'll get a verification badge on your account. You're telling the truth. You're spinning it a great way. And guess what? Drivers are going to be happy because you're verified. You know what's going on. We don't have to see this crap again where it's, hold on, let me pull this off real quick.
That's a real name right there.
Entirely hopeless. That's not a name. That's not a name. Come on.
Well,
Big.
actually,
I
that was
mean,
my one of my
Tom
rides
Hanks.
on Lyft. That was one of my rides on Lyft this week. That was
Oh,
big.
big.
And the guy that showed up couldn't be any smaller and skinnier than Big. I picked him up. It was a nice guy, whatever. But like entirely hopeless. I'm entirely anxiety ridden when I see that. So, okay. So Chris said it, and look, the name that we put up last week, in fact, was one of Levi's. Chris, it was swastika. Okay. And so for everybody that sits here doubtful that goes, oh, Serge, Uber, you're dreaming, they're not watching. Okay. I got an email from Uber saying that, Sergio, we hear that you put up fake names. I go, yeah, for the last year.
Where have you been?
And I'm going to keep doing it, Uber, until this ends. And they said in certain cultures and religions, swastika, specifically, this is how close they're watching, Chris.
Yeah.
Specifically in Sanskrit, it means plentiful, bountiful. We have verified. It's not an easy thing to do, but that was the person's real name. I'm like, Uber.
Look, the reality is,
really
yes.
Watching me that closely
before the big war, before that big war, yes, it had a completely different connotation than what it is. But the problem is, that's what it is now, and there's a lot of the world has a very sour taste to that because Germany fucked it up. So yeah, that is a real problem. Actually, that there's been a lot of bastardization of key things when it comes to good luck or happiness or whatever it might be when it comes to certain symbols, and these things have been bastardized by groups for many generations at this point. So yeah, that's a real problem. They take something that means one thing and then they bastardize it, turn it into something else. So I can understand that aspect there. The problem is, put the little verification badge. When you verify something like that, verified.
Yeah.
Very simple, very easy. It should already be done.
And I did send them an email back saying, Sachin was on like a year ago plus. I interviewed him. He says they're going to purge all these fake names by doing. And then in their package that 4 or 5 months ago when we announced at the LA office, when I met DK, they said that the trips are going to come with a check mark, like a verified, right? I haven't seen one. I haven't either. Okay.
Has anybody has anybody in the chat seen a verified badge yet?
I think we showed one.
I'm sure
I think we showed one. And FYI, I know it. Like, in fact, you can pull it up if you want. I'm sure you saved that. The swastika on Levi's pink screen did not have a check mark. I remember it like yesterday. However, Uber, much appreciated for the correction. See, we call it the way we see it. You corrected us. We're saying it. We're taking your word. I don't know if you verified, whatever. You know what I mean? But how about today's? Is there a doubt about today's fake name, Uber?
Endlessly hopeless. I'm sorry. Entirely that's not hopeless? A name.
Yeah, that's a real name. Yeah, that's a real name. Yeah, okay. Big could be whatever. Obviously not a real name, but hey, whatever.
I mean, it's not Tom Hanks,
So now we're being fact checked, Chris, by Uber. So we need to put really fake names as opposed to.
Hey, I'm glad to be stand corrected on that because we can just call them out a little bit more because they should have been verified with a verification badge, and they should be verifying everybody. I think how we were talking earlier today, and I said one bad apple screws the bunch. So when we had some jackass who decided, oh, I'm going to put a little bomb in my shoe, and now everybody's got to take their fucking shoes off at the airport unless you're TSA pre-screened. So you know what? Guess what, Uber? Some jackass put in a fake name. Now verify everybody. I don't care. It doesn't mean anything to me. Oh wow, I already have my ID as a driver. Do it for a fucking passenger too.
How many passengers out of 150 million they have do you think they will lose if they force them to upload a government ID?
Honestly, million? Zero.
No.
I don't
think
be
a couple of million. I'm sure it'll be a couple of million.
No, they would not. Oh, I'm sorry. They lose the kids.
Yeah,
they'd lose the team. I'm sorry. Anyway, but no,
we'll be in touch.
In reality, No, they wouldn't. Look at Netflix. Netflix started charging people for not being able to stream with your friends and family by sharing passwords. They did the password crackdown, and they're making more money now than they were. So don't give me that bullshit that it won't work. They're
You're listening to my partner here. You're listening to my partner here.
Uber and Lyft have been instilled in the culture. It is part of the culture now. All you have to do is say, hey, in order to continue doing this, you need to upload your ID. We need an ID check, whatever it is. And there you go. Especially
I emailed them back. You know what? I said, I emailed them back. I said, listen, they know still everything about me. They know my picture, my face, my car, my license plate, how many years about. I know everything about the driver. I still don't know anything about the passenger. I mean, when is this going to change? Right? Make him upload a verified ID. Oh, that was no answer to that one. That ended that conversation. So we stand corrected. Much appreciated. Thanks for watching. There we go.
So that's my little annoyance when it comes to that. It's like, oh well, you know, we can't. Oh please, shove it up your ass. That's the point. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about flying cars. I'm a fan. I'm sorry.
Well, this is you. Concept. This is you, right? This is all you, right
flying
here.
Car concept. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I want a freaking flying car in my drive. I want somebody to bring me in one of these EVTOLs. I want one. I want one so bad.
Come to LA. Come to LA next year. I'll let you fly one
next year.
LA. Oh. Yeah, come to, hey, you know what? We go. Why do we do? I'm not getting in any of these fucking things. Okay, so not a chance. But come to LA. I'll take you to one of these. I'll drive you to one, and then you take off and go wherever.
Oh yeah, I want one so bad. I would love a nice little. I would love a nice little personal flying vehicle. It would be great. I love flying my drone around. It's fun. It's fantastic.
It's not the same thing, bro.
It's not. But you know what?
You're a dead man.
Well, you could say the same if you're in a car. I mean, if you're going fast enough, you're going to be a dead man too, or a bike.
No, pretty much. Anyway, so this is the Fred Flintstones of LA. Okay, can you remove the SMTMC thing for a second? The tech company, which has raised $1 billion with the B in capital, claims that a flight from Santa Monica Airport, for everybody who's in LA knows this, to Malibu would take 5 minutes and cost less than $40 cheaper than an Uber. Whoever the owner of this thing is or wrote this, you are mistaken, sir, madam, because those trips are a lot less than $40 these days. Maybe you're not following upfront fares, and this article was February 23rd. So the luxurious vehicles are being manufactured in Covington, Georgia. At least they're being manufactured in the U.S. Great for U.S. jobs. Archer says a ride from Chicago O'Hare Airport would take 10 minutes, and a ride from Manhattan to JFK would be made in 8. Archer has sold 200 vehicles to United Airlines. Oh my God, this is really happening. The electric vertical takeoff and landing. It's called eVTOL. So that's just for you right up your alley, Chris.
It's an eVTOL.
eVTOL. Aircraft have a range of, 100 miles. Depends on the weight of the passenger, probably, because you know how those EVs go up the hill, they fucking die right away. So
no, actually, it would be a lot more. I mean, temperature, air pressure, wind. There would be a lot of things that would factor into it.
100 miles is a lot, bro. Anyway, and they can go up to 150 miles an hour. Using that math, a trip between Santa Monica, again, this is an LA company, that's why they keep putting it. Santa Barbara. Okay, first of all, yeah, Santa Monica, Santa Barbara is right at the cusp of 100 miles. I don't think you guys will make it if you're going against the wind. Should take about a half an hour, assuming you're not stuck in traffic with the George Jetsons up there. Not a chance on this planet I will get caught in one of these. There you go.
Oh dear, I want one. I want this. I want them on.
You have kids, bro. You have young kids.
Can we get Archer Aviation? Can we get the CEO on?
They're in LA. I'll get on it.
Can we get them on?
I'll get on it. They're in LA.
Awesome.
Okay.
And then
You'll be-
I want to be the one who does the review on this. I want to
So you
do a
want to be a
review video on
passenger
it.
or you want to be a flyer? You want to pilot? You want to be a passenger?
I would do either or. Yeah.
You got to get licensed. I think you do. Let's see. Flying cars have
Well,
been blah, blah,
yeah.
blah.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. What we got to do is figure out what is going to happen with the FAA, because right now, what these companies are saying is not what the FAA is going to say. The FAA is going to be the judge, jury, and executioner when it comes to these.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a drone, if you're doing it commercially, you have to be Part 107
Yeah, but they,
certified, which that's what I am. So you got to take your test, you got to do all this stuff. When it comes to actually flying, it's a little bit different too. So like you have to take more tests and you have to do more certification process. You have to have so many hours. You have to do this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, I'd be really interested, because the biggest thing is a lot of people have to understand how airspace is set up. Like, it's not like, oh, I look up and there's the air. No, like if
oh, there goes Chris again. Yeah, he needs to get rid of a background check, but we're at the end. Yep, Chris Jetson, Jane, his wife. Yep. So yeah, you guys will be caught in one of these or what? I definitely not getting. Actually, 2 weeks ago, I was in a Waymo before they shut him down in LA. I took a Waymo trip of like 12 minutes.
man, F this stupid program.
Yeah, they don't know. You know, I took my what do you call that, green screen off in the background, and it's not doing it. See, I'm good.
I don't have
Because
the green
it says
screen on.
no, yeah, you do.
No.
No,
No.
okay. You got to take the virtual background off altogether.
The virtual
it
background
says-
is not on. This is I shoot from OBS, so
I
my
don't
OBS
know what it is, but it's
blank.
bothering you because it's Google says Google knows about it and they're working to fix it. So Google fix it. Anyway, so Chris, come to LA, buddy. I will happily put you in one of these things. Okay.
I will happily go in one. I want to own
Good.
one, actually.
Good. Yeah, and they're vertical
So,
like this. They're landing on like a hover. Or what do you call those? Vertical landing, right? That kind of thing.
yeah, it just takes off straight.
Hey, Anthony, thank you, much appreciated.
Anthony,
All
appreciate
right.
that.
How are you, buddy? So next one, what do we have? We have anything left?
Do we get to say thanks, Stephen? Stephen, thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you. Do we have any other subjects left? Oh, we got to
Yep.
give the money away. Hold on, money. Hold
Oh,
on.
we got a couple of things more. What are you
We
talking
do?
about?
I forgot.
Yeah, Chrome does suck.
I chrome my
What
brain
did I
out.
say about the FAA? I don't remember. I got pissed off and I was MFing.
He said
after when I saw that.
FAA it sucks. He doesn't like the government.
Yep.
He says it sucks.
I got an email from somebody, so I probably got it from you.
Yeah,
I'm not sitting on my gear shift. No.
Carrie, what
but
a question, Carrie. Come on now.
all right. So before we're doing intro topic right now. We have another topic that we're going to be couple more things actually, but we have an intro topic. So, this was absolutely wild. This bewilders me. And if this happens to anybody else out there, please let me know, because I was bewildered when this happened. So on yesterday, I text you at what, like it was probably 7:30 your time or something. I don't know. It was like 10:30 in the morning. I'm like, okay, let's go out. So I'm like, I go open up the Uber app. You can't go on. What the fuck? So and they're like, oh, you got to do your annual background check. I'm like, okay, whatever, fine. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll go on Lyft and do that. Lyft, I open up the Lyft app. Same goddamn thing. It didn't have that on Sunday, but it sure had them on both apps, both Uber and Lyft, right Monday morning yesterday.
Maybe they're like the same company now.
I've seen that. I've seen many people say that in the comments. I've seen that. Honestly, I'm starting to convert to that. I'm starting to convert to your.
They're using a second. They're using somebody else other than Checker now, and that, I've heard that when a driver gets deactivated on one platform, they're automatically getting deactivated off the other platform too now. So I don't know.
No, mine was both from Checker. The good news was for Uber, it took me 15 minutes until it was back on, and then yeah, it was real fast. And then Lyft was a couple hours, but
good.
Yeah,
Some drivers are waiting like weeks.
Yeah, Anybody
Yeah.
else have that issue? You want to sign on both platforms, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, guess what? Sorry, no, I haven't actually." I didn't. The wild thing is when I signed up in, I think it was March. Actually, you know what? I can look in the app.
Yeah, he texts
I
me. He
forget.
goes, "They booted me off, Serge." I go, "What do you mean they booted you
I'm
off?"
like, what the like, how does that even
I'm
happen?
like, "What? They deactivated you? That would be great. That would be a great show if they deactivated you."
Yeah, right. Like, what the hell? Hold on.
Yeah. Go ahead, Uber.
When
Go
the hell
ahead,
did I sign
deactivate
up?
me. I'm just looking forward to that day.
Oh, it doesn't
Or
even
like,
show.
or like,
So I forget exactly when I signed up. I think it was like July of 2016 when I signed up for Uber, and then it was like June of 2017 for Lyft.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, they're still using Checker, which is a pain
Yeah.
in the ass. But I mean, honestly, it went too fast, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
15 minutes and 2 hours, so it really wasn't too bad. It just sucked because I'm like, oh, I want to go out, and then I'm like, oh, now I can't go out. So
Well, 15 minutes is nothing, bro. I'm
yeah,
getting emails from drivers saying that, "Oh, I've been waiting for like 2 months." I'm like, well, talk to Larry.
yeah. At
But
that point, absolutely.
anyway,
All right.
so all right.
We got a little bit more to cover. We got a couple more things that we're going to be talking about. Next, would you like if your prices of your products were the same as dynamic pricing when it came to surge pricing for Uber and Lyft? Like, would you
No,
like if they
no.
switched? So if you go to buy something and you're like, oh, it cost me $25, but you go to buy it and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, there's a high demand for it. So it's going to cost you 3 times now. It's going to cost you $75 for the same exact thing. What would you think?
Right there.
James L, you're right.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking
Yeah.
right there.
Wendy's, you dumb motherfuckers. I'm sorry.
Oh, we got
It's true.
monetized. We got demonetized.
I
Oh
don't
my
care.
God.
I love Wendy's. I love Wendy's. I go.
Oh,
My wife works
God.
across the street from Wendy's, and I every time I go,
Oh,
if I drop
shit.
her off or pick her up, I'm like, oh, Wendy's. Ooh, I want some Wendy's.
Oh,
I love my Wendy's. I like Five Guys better, but I'm going to tell you right now, Wendy's. I already put this on X too. I say, Wendy's, if you pull this shit, there is no effing way I am going to go to your restaurant ever again. And I spend a pretty good penny at your place. I do like my Wendy's. So guess what? Wendy's, I am no longer going to go to your business. I don't care if you're going to do this in 2025 or whatever. Ain't gonna effing happen. I'm done. Boycott. The
I
boycott
don't know
is
what else
on.
to say.
What?
No, I love it. I saw this and I texted it to you, and he goes, "What the f?" Can you? Okay, but then you know what? I calmed down. After I thought about it, because I like, you know what I like? I like Wendy's chili and the frosty. I don't like anything else, and the fries are decent. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, what is next? Dynamic, look, airlines are doing it anyway, when the demand is high, the tickets go up through the roof, whatever shit. Insurance, right? Car insurance, all over the
Make you
place.
appreciate. Thanks. Good
So
job.
the
101.
Uberization, is it necessary, the Uberization of hamburgers, Chris?
No, it's
Because
not.
I'm like, okay, imagine this, right? But then calmer, cooler heads prevailed, and I kept thinking about it. I'm going like, it's brilliant. You know why?
No, you know
Remember,
why it's not? Because they're Bud Lighting themselves. That's what they're going to do. Because I can go to, literally within a stone's throw, I can go to 15 different burger joints. I can go to McDonald's. I can go to Burger King. I can go to Five Guys. I can go to Checkers. I can go to Chick-fil-A if I want chicken. I can go to so many different fast food joints that if you're going to pull this, guess what? I don't care. So if you want to Bud Light yourself, go ahead. You're going to lose all the business that you had.
Okay, now, calm down, buddy. Think about this, okay? Remember our boiling the frog slowly, you're right? 2 billion trips times 20 cents. Remember that? Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, you won't even feel it. They're going to slip that 20 cents or a quarter on you on that burger when you're buying. Plus, you know what? When they're going to do this? When there is one Wendy's open in the whole town, okay? and all the munchies are coming to eat. You know what I mean? That burger is going to go through the roof. Okay, buddy? And in general, lunchtime, if they slip at 20 cents, you won't even feel it. But multiply that times 10 million burgers a day. You mean? Brilliant, Wendy's. You're suck. Don't do it.
No. Because if that opens the door for other companies to start raising products on things at time of demand. So no, I think something like this should be completely ripped apart from the get-go. I've already seen people like on X calling them out quite a bit. You know, my Facebook is the same exact thing, saying, "Oh, well, I guess I'm going to go to Arby's now instead," or you know, whatever it might be. So this is where I'm going to call an absolute boycott on Wendy's, and hopefully we can Bud Light their ass 30% year over year downgrade. So that's what I'm calling for. I want a 30% drop in Wendy's sales. So please stand firm when it comes to boycotting Wendy's and saying,
hold on, it's dynamic pricing.
We're never going there again.
What if the burger goes under the normal price that they sell for because to create demand?
They're not going to do that. Does that happen on Uber and Lyft? No. They just continue to raise prices, period. They continue to raise the flat rate price.
That's hilarious.
So don't give me that.
All right. I'm
it's,
with
you know, it's already
no dynamic pricing other than rideshare.
Dave's Double. You know how much it costs for me to get my Dave's Double large? A lot. It's like $3 more than what it was 2 years ago.
Inflation is here. Yeah. So no dynamic pricing in burgers. I put my foot down on that as well. Okay. Whoever the CEO is, who's the CEO of this freaking company? It's not.
I don't know.
Definitely not Dave anymore.
No, I think it's
CEO Wendy. Right here, Kirk Tanner. Kirk. I know we're not a burger channel, but if you're going to send us a few burgers, then come on, we interview you. He thought it was a brilliant idea, and I'm going like, yep. Actually, this got more. I saw this more on X than anything else yesterday.
Oh yeah, because
they got PR out of it, you know.
I don't, you know. Hey, I don't care. Carl's Jr. or what's their sister company? Oh my God, I can't even think of it now.
Burger King, Carl's Jr. All these. Oh,
well, Carl's and we don't because Carl's is West Coast and then East Coast is oh my God, I can't even think of it now. But we don't have it in our area. Like the closest one is like the other side of
Hardee's.
Pennsylvania.
There you go. Carrie B is on it.
Hardee's. That's it. Thanks. Yeah, Hardee's. Yeah, I like Hardee's.
Are you new here, Carrie B? You're useful. You should email me, Sergio at therightcheck.com. She's probably an AI bot. But anyway,
I've seen Carrie a couple of times. So
okay, so you are against it. I'm against it as well. I'm joining my partner in solidarity here. Bullshit. Yep. No dynamic pricing on hamburgers. Done.
Denied. Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's move on. Let's talk about
quickly.
Actually,
we're hitting the hour mark. Okay. I am still getting few of these. I started collecting these about 2.5 months ago. Do you see these guys? You get this in your app. You guys quit on me slowing down. Please, every 2 weeks, please send me these as soon as you get it in your Uber app. I have created this massive database. I'm up to, I think, 90 cities, Chris. Hello, Uber. You're watching this too, right? Okay. Is that why you changed the quest, by the way? Is that what's happening here? Just screw my numbers all up? I'll do another spreadsheet. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's okay. We'll work. But please send me that. Please. When you get it in your app, boom, Sergio at therightcheck.com. Send it. It goes on my spreadsheet. Worst market in the country right now is Austin, Texas. Between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m., it's $18 an hour, Chris. Gross.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Best market, Boston, as usual. Okay, I'm going to be in Oakland and San Francisco on March 13th and March 14th. This event is on March 13th in Oakland, New Parkway Theater. Supposed to be a great event. I know it's going to be a great event. Moderated by Levi, who's a good friend from Market Watch. Now she's with Cal Matters. I'm going to be on the panel. Alan Narcisse, who used to be at Uber and Lyft, is going to be on the panel. And Shelly Stewart is going to be on the panel. The headline is there any such thing as a good gig economy job? After I did a video yesterday, is it time to quit rideshare? I'm not sure. You guys got to RSVP, okay? There is the code for it. Is it in the show notes, the link?
No, you didn't give me the link.
We'll put it in the show notes. Please register if you're in the Bay Area, San Francisco, Oakland. After the event, you can come to the event. It's all free. You can come to the event, and I'll do a shout out to my brothers and sisters on wheels. I want to sell this thing out. There's room for like 130 people. I want nothing but drivers. I don't want anybody else's people there. Show up. After the event, I'm going to create a meet and greet out of this event. I'll hang out with you guys as long as you want. You want to take pictures, shoot the shit. The best thing is there's free food and free alcohol. You can't say no to that. All you have to do is find parking and come say hello. So I'm going to be there. I'll see you guys there. Let's sell this thing out. Let's sell this bitch out. There you go.
Yep. And for anybody who's in the Chicagoland area, if you want to meet up in Chicago, I'm going to be there this weekend. Date and time is still to be announced, but email me, chris@therideshareguy.com. Again, chris@therideshareguy.com, and we can meet up in Chicago. And let's give away some Sergio's money right now.
What's up? We should get an RV and do like a tour of Show Me the Money.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
I don't think Harry will pay for that, but that'd be cool.
No, we're moving, bro. Come on now. Come on. Uber is watching. Lyft is watching. We have more viewers than ever. Subs are hitting through the roof. Hey, man. Harry, open the purses, Harry. Let's go. Okay, there's my money. $25. Be gentle. Here's a warning. You guys win. You better email me. 24-hour limit. If you don't email me within 24 hours, no money. No honey.
Nathaniel, congrats.
Nathaniel, I know he will email me. Didn't he win before?
If he did, it would have been like probably about a year ago or whenever we started.
No, Nathaniel. Well, I know who you are. So he was on Behind the Wheel and all that good stuff. Email me, Nathaniel. Yep. 24 hours you have from now, 5:08 to 5:08 tomorrow, or whatever.
Congrats, Nathaniel. All right. That was a great show. Thank you, Levi, for coming on and sharing that info. Also, again, don't forget, sign up for the newsletter. Link is going to be in the description below. Crossfire will be coming out. There is a members only Crossfire topic. You got to be a member in order to be able to participate or to at least see that. That is going to stay. So there's going to be some membership perks that are just members only. We also have on this Thursday, the 29th, at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, is going to be the Show Me the Money Club live members only. So you got to be a member in order to do that. And yeah, we're going to be having a little off-the-cuff conversation, as you could probably see already. So we're going to do that.
My email, Sergio@therideshareguy.com. Send me those screenshots from the app, the earnings. You guys are slacking off. Initially, I had like hundreds, and I'm like, wonderful. Every day, I was just doing my spreadsheet. Now there's maybe 10, 15 people doing it. I need new cities. I want to keep growing that spreadsheet. I want to keep growing that database. So the second you see it in your app, you're usually going to see it Monday through Friday or Friday through Sunday, you know, those driving hours, whatever. Just send it to me. Take a screenshot, Sergio@therideshareguy.com. Nathaniel said he's going to donate it. You get the money first. You do whatever you want with it. But if you do donate it, let us know where you donated
it. Remember.
Thank you, Raphael. There was one other thing. Yeah, next week we have no guests. What's next week? 5th.
Yeah, you know what? We're going to have audience guests.
Open the damn thing up and bring you all on.
Yeah. And hey, Sergio, you know, this was 96. We got 4 more until our 100th. 100? And then we got 4 more after that until our 2-year.
So
2 years of doing this.
Next 2 months is going to be fun.
Yeah.
We need to start planning, bro. What are we doing for the 100? And what are we doing for the 2-year? We got to start planning.
Well,
okay, you know what? Hey, this is what you guys should do. How about you email me, Sergio@therideshareguy.com, what we should do for our 100th episode and what we should do for our 2-year anniversary. We're talking consecutive episodes, people. We're Iron Men here, okay? We're working for you people here. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. All
right. And again, for anybody who's in the Chicago area, if you want to get hold, let me know. Shoot me an email, chris@therideshareguy.com, and we will be able to try to figure out a date and a time to meet up. I'll be there this weekend so we can meet up and enjoy.
Sorry.
All right.
Look at this knucklehead.
Tesla giveaway.
Yeah, to us.
Wait,
You guys are going to buy
wait,
a Tesla?
us?
Yes.
All right, I'll take a Tesla.
Much appreciated, James.
Thanks, James. He's
You'll
giving
even
us 2
take a free
Teslas. I
Tesla.
like it.
You take a free Tesla.
Oh yeah, I'll take it.
Bring it on, James. Much appreciated. Brother.
Do the show from Wendy's. Ha. You're funny.
Oh my God, what a great freaking. Okay, email me these ideas, please. We will do one. We'll go. Actually, we'll put it up to vote. Like we'll I think it'll be great. So 100th episode in 4 weeks. Send me the emails with ideas. Don't do anything crazy like put a stripping pole behind you or something. Nothing stupid. Okay, something reasonable, people. So there you go.
Something that won't get us kicked off of YouTube.
All together.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Much love. Be safe. Thumbs up. It's free. Free. Thumbs up. Next week. We'll see you guys next week. All right.
All right. Have a good one. Be safe.